There's definitely struggles on both ends with guys and girls. Girls, definitely, I've seen as a professional matchmaker that there are some unrealistic expectations. The one thing that I've seen a lot with guys is that they're entertaining the idea of getting married and not committing to the process of getting married.
When a man's like, okay, well, if I'm paying this and this and this, and you want all this, but what you bring to the table, it almost becomes like an offensive thing for a man to even ask. But today, if a man says, hey man, like I need you to cook and clean if I'm gonna do this, it's almost like, well, you can't demand that. You should be happy that you have me.
I even know imams who don't even conduct nikahs without bride and groom going through premarital counseling. We should make that a priority. We should encourage that. Assalamu alaikum, my name is Zaid. My wife and I are the founders of Halal Match. We are professional matchmakers, and if you guys are tired of swiping left and right and not getting any results, check us out on Halalmatch.ca. We'd love to work with you, and we can't wait to get started.
Today's video is sponsored by Halalmatch.ca. If you are interested in and tired of swiping left, right, and want to do things the halal way, go check them out on www.halalmatch.ca. Now let's get back in the video. Welcome to another episode of the Punches and Prayers podcast. Today I have the special guest that's also a sponsor of our podcast. They are called Halalmatch.ca. It's a couple out here in Toronto that specialize in a Muslim halal matchmaking service, and they're here to educate you guys on what they have to offer. So without further ado, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Alaikum salam. I'm good. How are you?
So for the audience that don't know you, what's kind of like your background?
My background, so in regards to, I guess, the work I do, I am a professional matchmaker. I've been doing this for about 4 years now.
Nice.
And the service itself is, of course, called Halal Match. And it's a service that was born out of my own personal struggles.
Okay.
I was single, searching for about 9 years. I was getting tired of the apps. I was on matrimonial websites. I was attending live events. I was trying everything, even the Rishta aunties, the WhatsApp groups, anything. Facebook
You went
groups.
through the struggle, bro.
I've done everything and anything you can think of.
Wow.
And that journey went on for about 9 years.
Okay.
Until at some point, my mom kind of pushed me to go for Umrah.
Okay.
And when I went for Umrah, of course, everybody says, when you're standing in front of the Kaaba, make a dua that's like near and dear to your heart and be sincere about it. So the one thing I wanted was to get married.
Yeah.
So I prayed to Allah and I said, Ya Allah, please give me somebody that's compatible, beautiful, and understanding of my needs and what I'm looking for. So I performed Umrah. I came back to Canada and I thought, okay, she's just going to, fall into my lap and everything's just going to be okay. It didn't happen, needless to say. And the journey just continued and it went on for a few more years until I think it was November 2019.
Okay.
I suddenly get a message from my wife, who now is my wife. And she's like, I saw your profile. Would you love to talk? And long story short, we started talking. We found out we were so compatible. And we ended up having our nikah exactly 3 days from the day that I performed Umrah, asking Allah for a wife. So my dua was accepted.
Yeah, just Allah's timing, right?
Allah's timing, exactly. Yeah.
So where did you grow up? Like, where did you exactly grow up? Like, where were your was it you were raised in North America or you raised somewhere else in another part of the world?
So I was raised in Chicago.
Okay. Born in Chicago as well too?
Not born there.
Okay.
I was raised in Chicago, lived most of my life there.
Okay.
And
where are you originally from? Like before that?
I was born in the UK.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And moved to Chicago when I was 8 years old, and spent most of my life there. Went to an Islamic school, went to a boarding school for 2 years, lived in a very strong conservative Muslim community, and just lived there for most of my life.
Yeah.
And until at some point, fate had it that it was time for me to move to Canada. My mom was already living here. My brothers were here. And it was time for me to start a new chapter in my life and moved in 2016.
Okay. And what kind of educational background do you have prior to that?
I have a degree in psychology.
Okay.
So I did my Bachelor of Arts at a private university in Chicago, Benedictine University, if anybody is listening from Chicago.
Okay.
And I did that. And then after that, did a bunch of other certifications. I also have my yoga certification.
Yoga?
Yeah, I know. It's so random. I'm also a trained educational instructor. I'm a Montessori teacher too.
Okay.
So I kind of have a wide array of skills and training under my belt.
So why halal match? Like, how did you come up to the conclusion of starting this after you went through your nikah and stuff? Like, what was a gap that you found in the market, and what was the reason that what does halal match do different than any of these other so-called dating apps that are out there, especially the Muslim ones? What's different about you guys?
So when I finally met Hiba, I felt like there was something missing. That a there was something missing in the market, that people weren't finding somebody through the appropriate channels, right? That the platforms that were out there, whether they were apps, matrimonial websites, they weren't conducive to our generation of Muslims. They were very much outdated. A lot of the websites were just public directories. You could just go on the website, you could just find somebody from some random village in India.
Yeah.
And and so I knew there had to be something better.
Mm-hmm.
So I pitched the idea to Hiba and my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, "Yeah, why don't we work on this?" It sounded like a cool idea. I said, "Why don't we just build something that's more conducive to our generation of Muslims, that's more transparent, more that really helps people from A to Z." So Hiba finally came to Canada. We talked about it for some time. And at first, Halal Match started off as a live matchmaking service where people would sign up to a live matchmaking event, and we would conduct matrimonial events and people would meet each other that way. After doing that for some time, we realized that people need personal matchmakers. They need somebody to hold their hand through the process, and they need guidance. And so we pivoted. We shut down the service temporarily, and we pivoted, and we said we're going to redo our entire service model. And from that, we went on to becoming private Muslim matchmakers.
Okay.
And the original, and what we started to do was take clients out on double dates.
Okay.
So when we would find a match for our clients, we take them out on an in-person double date or virtual,
Mhm.
and we sit them with them for about 3 hours, and just really give them a good time.
Was there any was there
Pretty much wine and dine them.
was there any like ugly events that have happened and something like that? Do any crazy story that you have? You must have some crazy stories.
Fortunately, nothing crazy. Nobody ever got up and walked away.
Oh, it never happened. What?
Alhamdulillah,
Okay.
never happened.
That would be, but that you probably wouldn't be surprised if that did happen.
I I was always just praying these things wouldn't happen. But alhamdulillah, most of the double dates that we did take our clients on worked out.
Yeah.
Some of them, went on to clients getting married.
Mhm.
Some of them didn't work out to an extent,
Mhm.
and they would follow up with us, and after the double date, they would further assess compatibility,
Mhm.
and for whatever reason, it just wouldn't work out.
Okay.
So
So walk me through the process. So how does somebody sign up for Halal Match? How do they get onboarded? And what's the process that they're expecting in terms of what kind of deliverables are they expecting from your service right now?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the first step we do is a discovery call. We want to make sure that we're a good fit for the client and the client's a good fit for us. So we do a completely free discovery call. Uh, Clients find us through Instagram, sometimes Facebook. They'll Google us. Sometimes it's word of mouth. So there's different ways people find us.
Mm-hmm.
And after the discovery call, during the discovery call, we'll ask some basic questions to assess maturity. Do they have some sense of clarity as to what they want? Are they somebody that we can work with long term?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes clients think we're just magicians and we'll just pull somebody out of a hat for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, it doesn't work.
It
that
doesn't
way.
work like that in anywhere.
Of course,
Even on
not.
any dating app. I don't know, but I think the number of swipes, even on these apps, there's statistics on them. It's like some crazy amount of swipes. I've never been on any, so I can't tell you.
Yeah,
But I know like it's like some crazy astronomical number before like something would happen.
yeah, of
The
course.
law of averages on that. Yeah.
Of course, it does take time.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that the client that we're taking on board is understanding of that. So after the call, Hiba and I will review the call, we'll make a decision as to whether or not we can move forward and help this client. And if the client wants to move forward with us, then we send them a registration form. And no, it's not a biodata for any Desi people listening, but it's a very lengthy registration form. That involves uploading pictures, a video introduction of yourself. We want to know what your values are, what your goals are, what your preferences are. We have some scenario based questions on that registration form. It's very detailed and it takes nearly an hour to complete. Once that's submitted to us, along with some pictures, the video, we also ask our clients to submit some personality tests also. So once everything is submitted to us, then we begin searching for them. We search through our database, and when we do find a match for them, we schedule a video call.
Mhm.
Now, the important thing to note is that we don't send the client's profile and pictures through email.
Mhm.
Confidentiality is a big, big thing for us,
Mhm.
and our clients really respect that.
Mhm.
So we schedule a video call. We share information through that video call about the match, regarding values, pictures. We share our screen, and we show pictures. We play the video introduction, and and we do the same thing with the match too. And if both clients say yes, we want to move forward, then we go forward with a double date.
Mhm.
Now, we have actually just recently changed our service model, so we're no longer doing double dates.
Okay.
Um,
Why'd you change the model?
the main reason was that a lot of our clients were we would schedule double dates, and sometimes the double date just wouldn't work out.
Because of
Uh,
distance?
because of distance, sometimes we would invest time in driving there, meeting with the client, sitting there for 3 hours. And the clients would say, no, I don't think this is a good match for me.
Mhm.
So it turned out to be a waste of our time because we wouldn't charge for the double date. And we felt it was unfair charging our
Yeah.
clients for the double date
Okay.
unless they said yes afterwards.
Okay.
So we decided to change our service model, and
Mhm.
we said, okay, we're only going to charge our clients if they say yes, that
Mhm.
they want to move forward after the presentation.
Mhm.
And so we would just charge a fee to release contact information.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long ago did that change?
Just about a month ago,
Okay.
about a month, maybe a month and a
And then
little
what
bit.
happens from there onwards?
So if they say yes, that they want to move forward after seeing a picture and after learning about the match, then then we release contact information. They say yes.
Okay.
Then it's the responsibilities upon them to
Okay.
move forward and assess further compatibility, maybe involve parents.
And when did they say like I no longer need your service, like your subscription model? So let's say they will update you saying, hey, like I found a match or whatnot and I'm good, or how does it work?
So after releasing contact information, they are able to further assess compatibility. And if for any reason they say no, it didn't work out for whatever reason, they're welcome to come back. We
Mm.
don't charge them a registration fee again.
Yeah.
So just to kind of summarize the fee structure, we just have two fees. The first fee is a $150 registration fee
Yeah.
to get started. That
Mm.
allows us to start reviewing their information.
Hmm.
And then we just charge a second fee to release contact information.
Got it.
So, for any reason, if the clients feel like after releasing contact information, they need to come back and it didn't work out with that match, they can come back and we don't charge a registration fee. We just charge another fee to release contact information.
And let's go on to the details of the form. Like, do you guys also categorize your forms in terms of like the sects of Islam, like Shia, Sunni, like all that, or how does that work for the people
So,
watching? Because that's also a big thing out there nowadays, right? So people need to understand because I think same sex is a much more compatible marriage than having Shia Sunni marriages or Shia or the other way around. I've seen a lot of problems with that. So do you guys have that type of scrutiny in there or no?
yeah, so that is a big deal for some of our clients.
Yeah.
And we do have that section laid out on our registration form
Yeah.
where clients have to check, are they Sunni? Are they Shia? And also, what are they looking for?
Hmm.
Are they okay with somebody of a different sect? Are they not?
Hmm.
And that's just one of many preferences we ask about. We even ask about height.
Okay.
And a lot of girls are picky about height.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a
So
saying,
yeah, there's
right?
a whole list of preferences we go through.
Do you guys have meher requirements too?
We
You
do.
actually do?
We
Oh
ask
my
about that too. You
god.
never know.
Oh
And
my.
some girls, and some people are just like, I want 10,000 or more.
Yeah.
I'm okay with spiritual equivalents, so Islamic training,
Yeah.
Umrah, things like that.
Mm.
So you get girls come in all different stripes.
Yeah, do you get the ones with the I want a G wagon?
Have
you got those?
No,
No.
none of those.
There's one. The Instagram reels that are famous nowadays, right? You seen them?
No.
Where there's guys go out and ask these, mostly Muslim girls are asking in plazas and stuff like, what are your mayor requirements? And the girls like, I want an Aventador, I want this, I want, 2 Hermes bags and all this stuff. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, there's all these reels going on viral on Instagram. Yeah,
Okay, I haven't seen that.
outrageous claims that they want.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen any of those. Yeah, that would never work out for me.
Yeah. What's kind of like your most demographic that uses your platform? Do you guys have statistics on that? Like, what's out of all the users that came, what type of demographics are mostly signing up, and what type of races are there, or is it just all sorts?
So most of the clients we get are Desi.
Mm-hmm.
We do get a few Arab clients.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of demographic, specifically location, we have people mostly from the GTA.
Okay.
We have a few clients in the States.
Mm.
We did expand to the UK, so we do have a client in the UK also. But the highest concentration of clients we have are in the GTA.
And how do you guys build your database? You said you have a database, right? How do
Mhm.
how do people enter into that database for you?
Through the discovery calls. So
Okay.
we make the final decision as to whether or not we can, enter someone into our database.
Okay, got it.
So once they fill out the registration form, they complete the personality test, the love language quiz also,
Hmm.
then they get submitted into our database.
Okay, fair enough. So it's a very thorough process. It's not
Very
it's not
thorough.
just like anybody can sign up and kind
No,
of get
no,
involved
no,
and get
no.
in. It's more very, very selective.
Every person who signs up with us has to go through a discovery call,
Yeah.
and Hiba and I
Personally deal with it.
personally sit on the discovery call,
Yeah.
and we both go through the registration form. So it's two heads working on each client.
Yeah. So it's like a bespoke halal dating or halal, sorry, how do I say it? It's a bespoke halal matchmaking service,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's what it is,
Pretty much. Yeah.
essentially, right? Cool. So what are your kind of like goals and in terms of this brand that you guys built? What are your sort of next kind of goals and where to take this brand to? Today's video is sponsored by Halalmatch.ca. If you are interested in and tired of swiping left, right, and want to do things the halal way, go check them out on www.halalmatch.ca. Now let's get back in the video.
That's a good question. So what we're looking to do is go more virtual now.
Mm.
And so a lot of our clients are okay with the virtual model where they're able to see their potential matches information through a video call. So right now we are focusing a lot on our ebook, which is a very valuable tool for clients to further assess compatibility. Our ebook has a list of games. It's called the Compatibility Challenge, and through that, clients can play different games to learn more about their potential match and see whether or not they're good for marriage. Of
And
course,
what's the cost of the ebook?
the ebook is Hiba, how much is the ebook? So the ebook's about $15,
Okay.
and
Okay, so
the
the client it's free, but if somebody just wants the ebook, they can buy that too.
yes,
And that's on
yes,
halalmatch.ca. Okay.
yes, they
Did
can
any
purchase that through halalmatch.ca.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Did anybody do you guys have an app or no app yet? Just website.
No, so we don't have an app.
Yeah,
No,
it's just strictly a website.
strictly a
And
website.
how you develop the website yourself or you hired somebody or
We hired somebody to do that.
oh yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I thought maybe you're into coding and something.
No, no,
Every brown guy knows that, So
no.
all my Desi customers in my business, they're all IT related.
Yeah,
It's like you don't have to even say. It's like IT.
I wish I could have done the website myself,
Yeah.
but alhamdulillah, we invested a lot into our website. We wanted to make sure we went through every piece of content, every picture. We were very meticulous about our website
Mhm.
because we wanted to make sure anybody who's on our website can relate, can understand our struggle, can understand our story and our journey,
Mhm.
trying to get married, and that they would trust us ultimately with their private information, and is able to open their heart to us so that we can find them a right match.
How quickly do you get on the call? Like let's say somebody enters information today, like how quickly do you get on that discovery call within how many hours?
Usually it's within a day or two.
Okay.
Yeah. So they fill out a mini form on our website, and then they get an automated link to schedule a call with us.
Mhm.
And the sooner they schedule a call with us, the sooner we can, start talking about getting them married.
Okay, good. So what are some of the struggles you're seeing in today's day and age with, Muslim matrimony and the world we live in today in this modern, environment of the 21st century, let's say? What are some of the struggles that you see that men or women are having, right? We have an audience that is a lot of our audience is Muslim and they watch our content and I get messages from a lot of folks of a lot of
Hmm.
struggles out there right now, right?
Yeah.
In the market.
Hmm.
And a lot of it is unrealistic expectations that are out there,
For
super
sure.
unrealistic expectations,
For
right?
sure. For sure.
And sometimes when you confront, I can speak from a man's point of view. When a man's like, okay, well, if I'm paying this and this and this, and you want all this, but what you bring to the table, it almost becomes like an offensive thing for a man to even ask today, right?
Yeah,
Whereas back
yeah,
in the day, it was a common thing. It was like, hey, like, I'm gonna do this, and you're gonna do this. But today, if a man says, hey, man, like, I need you to cook and clean if I'm gonna do this, it's almost like, well, you can't demand that. You should be happy that you have me, right?
hmm
And this is one of the biggest things I've noticed. Like, right, there's a lot of like these egos that I don't know who raised. I think I don't know where the problem is with the father raised them wrong or whatnot, but it's almost like I'm enough and that's it. And me as a man that has already been through a divorce and stuff, I used to always say to people like, there's no such thing as conditional love. Like
hmm
this whole thing, like some people say, like, I just love you for you. No, if Allah doesn't love us conditionally, who are
hmm
humans to love us?
hmm
You know what I'm saying? If Allah doesn't love us unconditionally, who are humans to love us unconditionally?
hmm
Even Allah, even Allah's love is conditional,
hmm
right? Allah's love is like we have to follow His commands to get Jannah, or else we get thrown in hell, right?
Right.
So if Rabbul Alameen doesn't love us unconditionally, why do humans make this claim of this unconditional love? Like, I just love you for you, right? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
And
get
some of
what you're
these tough
saying.
conversations you can't even have today because people live in this la la land, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what would you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So in terms of the struggles, there's definitely struggles on both ends with
Mm-hmm.
guys and girls. Girls, definitely, I've seen as a professional matchmaker that there are some unrealistic expectations. And with guys, the one thing that I've seen a lot with guys is that they're entertaining the idea of getting married and not committing to the process of getting married. So, for example, and this literally just happened within the past month, I had guys jump on a discovery call with us, say yes that they want to move forward. They even pay the registration fee, and then they go missing. And then we follow up with them. We say, hey, we didn't hear back from you. We have someone in mind. We'd love to start the process. Please submit the registration form so we can start assessing compatibility. We don't hear back. And so it's like there's this excitement with guys like, yes, yes, I want to get married. And then the excitement dies and we don't hear back from them. So and this has just happened over and over again especially within the past few months, that I've seen this recurring pattern
Mm-hmm.
with guys that they entertaining the idea of marriage, but they don't want to commit to the process and not understanding that there is a lot of legwork that goes into getting married. And when I say legwork, not just filling out a registration form and jumping on a call with us, it's about understanding yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll ask guys sometimes, so what are you looking for in a wife? What are your, can you share a little bit about your values, your expectations?
Mm-hmm.
And they just have this deer in the headlight looks, like they've never been asked this
I know
question
it's
before.
embarrassing. Yeah,
I'm like, these are some very basic things. And if you don't have this understanding of yourself,
100%.
how are you going to move forward and have a fulfilling, meaningful marriage if you don't understand yourself first? Because obviously these questions and things are going to come up when you're going through the courting phase and talking to a potential spouse. So that's one thing I'm seeing from guys. But with girls, um, the main thing is, yeah, like you said, unrealistic expectations, but even more, girls are delaying marriage a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The need for financial stability, to complete their education, is taking priority over the search for a spouse, and that's really, really hurting girls.
Mm-hmm.
90, I would say 90, maybe 95% of the calls that we get from girls
Mm-hmm.
are girls who are 30 plus.
Mm-hmm.
And when we ask them, okay, so can you tell us why you started your search so late? They said, oh, I just finished my master's degree. I just finished my PhD. I just started my search. I wanted to travel. I wanted to live on my own. When in reality, it's like they have this mindset where it's either or, right? Where I can't, if I get married, then I'm compromising on these things. Where Islamically, it's not like that,
No, 100%.
right? Like you can do all these things like travel, you can complete your education,
Mm-hmm.
you can have your career, you can do so many things along with your spouse, but they have this view where marriage means sacrificing those things. And if I don't get to cross those things off my bucket list,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not going to be able to if I get married.
If you guys like our video and content and like our sponsors, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Now let's get back in the video. But then the pool of guys that want those women is also smaller for them. right?
Exactly.
So like,
Exactly.
so here's my thing: when you say this to a woman today, they get offended. Like I talk to women all day long, even people that hit me up, and sometimes I just want to say, hey sister, like, you're 32, you're not gonna get no Prince Charming right now. The list of Prince Charmings are gone.
Hmm.
Like it's just a fact.
Yeah.
But so even right now, like a lot of the Muslim communities call me to speak there,
Hmm.
and I see some of these girls like good sisters, hijabis, whatever, Islamic, pray there 5 times a day, but their expectation is they're gonna get a guy that's going to be young, muscular,
Hmm.
that's gonna have his beard line so perfect, like a Turkish drama, and he's gonna sweep them off her feet, and he's gonna just do all this for her.
Hmm.
Whereas if you ask her, what do you bring to the table? You can't ask me what I bring to the table. I bring me. I am hiba from this. Okay, right? And
Yeah.
so a lot of guys, I'm talking from a guy's perspective, they're scared because they don't even like to hear that, and then it shuts a guy away. It like shies a guy away to say like, yo, like I don't want to even mess with this, right?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of these girls. Like I just did I'll give you a story. I'm in the basement business, so I just built a basement for this Arab family out in Ancaster,
Hmm.
and Muslim family, amazing family. I prayed with them. I did my prayer while I sold the basement. I prayed with them, and I'm like, why are you building this basement? He's like, I want 4 bedrooms in this basement. I'm like, why? He's like, I have 4 daughters. They're all doctors. I'm building them these rooms so they can all live downstairs. And I sat with the guy. I'm like, wait. Your 4 daughters all doctors. Aren't they married? No, they're still waiting for that guy. I'm like, as a
Wow.
father, I couldn't. The way he even said it, he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed to say. And these are hijabi good girls, but they've
Yeah.
lost their peak. They're 34, 35,
Wow.
and they're living in the dad's basement.
That's
And this
sad.
is not one story. This is many, many, many stories like this. Right?
That's
This is just
sad.
a recent one,
Yeah.
right? And it's happening in our communities.
Yeah.
This guy is building his basement for his 4 daughters. And the son's not married either. And the son's also a doctor. There's
Hmm.
5 physicians in a house,
Yeah.
and none of them are married. And
That
it's not even like a priority. Like okay, I'll get them. Like you're 36, honey. Like what are you saying?
that's the problem. So Hiba and I talk about this all the
Do you
time.
get what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
this father was so embarrassed. Then he took me outside and had a conversation. Like, brother, like like I don't understand. I sacrificed. I came to this country for these kids. Like I don't want to. How do I tell them that I need to kick you out of the house so I can like live my life? And this is a lot of stories, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Where parents are taking their kids in, putting them in basements,
Hmm.
and we've done a lot of these basements for clients. But to me, as a Muslim man, I was just like, I felt disgusting. It's like this is kind of disgusting. You have 4 sisters living together, grown, balig. They should be with husbands and their kids, and
Of course.
growing the population, because we don't want what happened to the Western world happen to our nations with declining birth rates, with what's happening, like yeah,
Right.
right? Because that's next for our ummah if we're gonna go down this way, right?
Right.
Go ahead, but
Yeah. So Hiba and I talk about this all the time. The problems with Arab culture,
mm,
and believe it or not, Arabs are the most difficult to match.
yeah,
I've seen this from as a professional matchmaker. I always see this over and over again. And the problem with Arab culture is that, yes, there's this mentality that it's shameful for a girl to be proactive and go look for a spouse, when in reality, this is a big part of our seerah,
mm-hmm,
right? Where women would go out and actually ask to marry the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They
mm-hmm,
would like propose to the Prophet,
mm-hmm,
right? And even in the Quran itself, there's the famous story of Musa alayhi salam's wife,
mm-hmm.
right, where she was interested in Musa alayhi
Correct.
salam, and then
And she
she
gave all
went
the
to her father,
conditions, and she gave all the conditions, and he said, yes, I'll do this, and
and she
yeah,
went to her father,
yeah,
and she was proactive,
yeah,
right? So there's this level of shame, and the deeper problem is culture.
yeah.
We're allowing culture to dominate and dictate the way we get married these days,
Mm-hmm,
and not our deen.
mm-hmm,
And if we just simply kind of unpack that and come back to our deen and understand the simplicity and beauty of our deen, we'll find so
mm-hmm.
much ease in finding a spouse. But we're just creating hurdles and obstacles because we have this cultural mentality so deeply embedded in our minds, in the way we approach the marriage process, that it's crippling us.
Today's video is sponsored by Halalmatch.ca. If you are interested in and tired of swiping left, right, and want to do things the halal way, go check them out on www.halalmatch.ca. Now let's get back in the video. Mm-hmm. I
Right.
see it all the time, right? And this is one of the things like I really worry about, because the next generation, like they're not gonna. They're like we had role models in our time, and whatever, there was good and bad, like we were able to decipher. But the new generation won't even see that, because and this is why also a lot of these people are getting married later, and the divorces are happening faster. Have you noticed
Yeah.
that too? So these women that are marrying like in their mid 30s, they
Hmm.
have a faster chance of being divorced versus the ones that got married younger. They would still do 15, 20 years before they get divorced. I've noticed a pattern of like the later the
Really?
woman gets married, the faster she's getting divorced, if the divorce is happening. So let's say a
Hmm.
35-year-old girl gets married, she's
Yeah.
divorced by 40, versus the girl that's getting married at 18, she's getting divorced at 35.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying? I've also
Yeah.
seen that pattern, right? That if the divorce happened, it happens after the 3, 4 kids, where the postpartum kicks in or something caused it. Versus
Yeah.
the one that's 35 comes with all these bad habits, and it was some husband that also was a guy that took her, and
Hmm.
now out of shame because he didn't want to divorce her, was dealing with it eventually until he breaks. Because there's a reason why Islam had to marry young, so that Allah understands our needs, and
Hmm.
if your needs are not met, you become a, how do I say it in the most possible way, a frustrated kind of person. And guess
Yeah.
what? That spouse will take your leftover, right?
Hmm.
And the other thing is like then a lot of these women are becoming single mothers now, and that's the
Yeah.
next epidemic. I always say it, like the next epidemic in the Muslim communities is single mothers everywhere, right? We didn't have this before. Now it's like every woman in my age group in my mid 30s is divorced, and then their second time their expectation is also so much higher.
Yeah. Because of what they went through.
Correct,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But do you guys get like single mothers even as well that are looking for the second time around? Do you guys
Sure.
get those type of clients a lot?
Just recently we did.
Yeah.
We had a discovery call with a woman in her 30s.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, I think she was in her 40s. And yeah, it's a challenge
Mm-hmm.
because um the only guys that we're going to find that could work for her are probably guys that are also divorced with children.
Mm-hmm. Or
And
a guy who's looking for a second wife, possibly,
and
right?
we don't do second
I know you
wives.
know that, but I'm just saying if you go by the
Yes.
Islamic way, only that
Yes.
would work the other way,
Yes.
right?
But to talk a little bit about divorce, divorce gets a really bad rep. And because when people think of divorce, like as a guy, so when I jump on a call with a guy and I start asking him the basic questions, are you okay with someone previously married? Are you okay with a divorcee? They have this look. And then when we kind of unpack if they say no, when we ask them why and try to dig deeper, they immediately associate the word divorce with trauma,
Baggage,
abuse,
baggage.
neglect. Assume there's all sorts of baggage.
Yeah.
Where in
In
my
most cases, there
experience,
is, by the way. In most cases, there is.
as a professional matchmaker, I wouldn't say most cases, but in some cases, yes.
Yeah.
But many of the cases, the reason people are getting divorced is simply because of incompatibility.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking the time to ask the right questions. They're not. And I remember in a case where a guy, where we asked him, what happened with your divorce? Can you share a little bit about that experience? He's like, we just didn't take the time to get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we realized after marriage, we were incompatible.
Mm-hmm.
And so if people are just taking the time to simply ask the right questions, assess compatibility, involve a third party, and just be patient with the process rather than jumping into it, I think that alone would reduce a large amount of divorces within the Muslim community. And of course, you can't really predict the cases
You
of
can't predict
abuse,
anything.
neglect, things
Yeah.
like that, and that's kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
And
But that also can change with time. I've noticed that a marriage could be good for so long, and then eventually just people move out, and or they move separate ways, or they lose interest in each other, and that happens a lot nowadays. That happens
right.
so much, and no one prepares them for this part. Even for example, most of the guys that I speak to, one of the big things that everybody complains is like having kids is supposed to be the best part of your life, but the moment they have kids with a woman, that the woman changes completely. She was not explained by her father or whatever, like, hey, like you can't neglect your husband now. But a lot of the neglect happens right after the kids. This is like a common thing that I hear from most men
Really?
in today's market. Is like, you have kids yet or no?
No.
Okay, you don't have kids yet. So I can tell you from personal experience from most marriages that I've seen, marriages completely go unresolved and issues come up after the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And most men that come to me and that speak to me, and I can say this just from even experience, still stay in those marriages so that they're able to see the kids, because they understand that the Western law system will screw them over, right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
courts don't favor men, right? I can tell
Right.
you from from a person who went through this.
Yeah.
Courts do not favor you. They look at you
Mhm.
as an evil person automatically just because you're a man, right?
Mm.
In the Western world, men don't have any rights in the court systems. I can tell you this publicly.
Right.
So
Right.
most men will stick in these unhealthy marriages
Mhm.
and will just tolerate it because they're like, I don't want to not see my kids, right? And it's a very hard thing. This is a very, very, very common thing for a lot of guys. They just
Mhm.
suffer in silence until they break it off, and then boom, eventually it goes even worse.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys hold it for years inside of them, right? This is a very
That's not healthy either.
yeah,
Right.
but it's a thing because there's not a lot of help or services out there for these men. There isn't, right? Like,
Mhm.
say there's a guy that's going through this right now. Where does he call, right? Right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
does he call, right?
Yeah.
Or who does he
And
talk to? And if he talks to his parents, guess what his parents tell mostly the Desi or the immigrant parents? Like, oh, it's okay, stick it up, like try to
tough
fix
it
your
out.
tough it up. But he's like, yo, there's no toughing up. Like it's just this is what's happening, right?
Right. Right.
And this is a lot of guys, right? And this is something that I saw when I was younger at 17, 18. I saw this when the guys that I looked up to were like 35, 36, and they would tell me this stuff when I was a young kid, telling me this, oh, like, I'm just with my wife, we're just roommates. And a lot of those guys, I'm 35 now, they're like in their 50s, and they're still suffering, some of them, suffering bad. And they let go of themselves. Like, that's why they get obese, they become what you call uncles, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the reason why most uncles became uncles
Yeah.
was because they just said it's okay, whatever. I just gave up on being myself and being
Right.
fulfilled myself.
Yeah.
And
I-
one of the things that
yeah.
I talk about is we should decode that and debunk that, because
Yeah.
if you study the seerah of the Prophet's time in Islam, if the even there was a woman that came to the Prophet and said, "Hey, my husband can't satisfy me," he said divorce. It was just a conversation, right?
Mhm.
And Islam allows for that, right?
Mhm.
But we made it so hard. We made it like so like
Yeah.
once you get a divorce stamp on you, like you're like some like used car, like you're
Right.
some
Right.
like
Right.
you're like some used car
Yeah.
with all these kilometers on, and you can't be used again, right? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like that. Versus it's like if you in the Sahabas, when they would divorce their wives, they would actually do an elan in the masjid. Hey, I've divorced this woman. If somebody else wants to do their nikah, they're more than welcome. Like it was like, hey, it's all good, right?
Mhm.
But we've made it so hard, right? When the divorce stamp comes on you, especially
Yeah,
for a woman,
that
especially for a woman,
stigma, there is
especially for a woman.
for sure, for sure. There's
For a man,
huge
it's not as
stigma.
much. Like for a man, it's like for some reason it doesn't do anything. Like
Yeah.
I think that if it does, very little, but mostly it's for women. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's a huge stigma. But going back to you were talking about the marriage going stale.
Mhm.
It definitely works both ways,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And I think if a marriage is going stale, so Hiba and I don't talk too much about marriage because we've just only been married a few years.
hmm
But the one thing I
How
can
many
say
years?
about
4 years.
for we got married in 2019, so
So 6
coming up
years.
to 5 years.
So they
Six,
so
yeah.
they say statistics, like these are Western statistics, that
Yeah,
most marriages start filling after the 8-9 year mark is where this stalemate starts coming. It's like that's like
really.
statistically that's what they've quantified.
Yeah. So what happens over time, and Hiba and I are kind of falling into this too, is that you just get sick of the routine,
Yeah.
right? It just becomes boring. Hey, you come home from work, you're watching
Mhm.
Netflix, like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe you'll go for a walk. Okay,
Mhm.
let's go to the gym. And it's great for the first year, maybe the second year, but then after a while, you need change,
Mhm.
you need variety,
Mhm.
right? And you have to, if you're treating marriage the same way you treated it back when you first got married, and you're not reassessing, reprioritizing your goals and thinking about the future,
Mhm.
and trying to make sure that you're still on the same page about where your marriage is going, then and you're just making the assumptions like, okay, yeah, my wife gets me or my husband gets me, and you're just on the treadmill just thinking that you're moving ahead but you're still in the same spot,
Mhm.
then of course the marriage is going to go stale.
Yeah. Well, we
Right.
hear stories like this, right? Like guys come to me and say, "Hey, look, like when we first got married, it was all exciting. She would dress up more when she do this, and now when I tell her to dress up for me, you know what she says? You should like me in pajamas." There's guys that tell me these things.
Is the husband dressing up for her though?
Yeah, the husband's in shape. The
Husband's in shape, good.
Husband's doing boxing. Husband's even better shape than before.
Great.
And then the
Okay.
wife just gained weight, and guess what she says? You should like me in pajamas. And a lot of these guys just like, yo, after that, they can't even say, they don't have the heart or the liver to say anything.
That's sad.
This is something
That's
that's just happening on a recurring basis, right? Like, and there's no like,
I mean, if one person's putting in the effort, the other person has to put in the effort too. It
yeah.
works
And the
both
thing
ways,
is, no
for sure.
education on this, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
no like I can tell you from experience, like, no one from any family member ever like sat us down and said, hey, look, like now you're getting married, now you have to do this. There was none of that. It's like you just got married, congrats.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's a lot of education that needs to be done in this field, right? Other than the matchmaking of
I think
finances.
premarital counseling.
Yeah.
Right. There's
But
not
really,
enough.
really good ones. Like,
Yeah.
not just some basic, like hard questions, like really, really hard questions.
There's some really good programs
Yeah.
available online. Suhba Institute. If anybody's talking to somebody and they want to go through premarital counseling, definitely check out Suhba Institute. There's Nikah Masterclass. There's masjids that offer premarital counseling. I don't think we give enough focus and emphasis on premarital counseling. I mean, the stats are there. People who go through premarital counseling have a higher success rate in marriage than people who don't. We all know that by now. And so we should, and I even know imams who don't even conduct nikahs without the bride and groom going through premarital counseling. So we should make that a priority. We should encourage that. Every masjid, every imam that conducts nikah should have that as part of their package. And yeah, it's become pretty common now. Actually, I would say within the past 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
The other issue that a lot of Muslim men are going through, especially successful ones, the entrepreneurs, they're like, listen, I don't want to marry you on paper because if I do, if one day she decides to leave me, she gets to take half my money, right? And which is not Islamic at all. Like there's no Islamic law that says a woman gets half your money or anything like that. It's like very un-Islamic, these laws, right? She gets to keep the kids and the money. So a lot of guys, they have that dilemma. There's a lot of that, right? Because they've seen so much divorce happen around them.
Right.
And they saw guys get ruined for custody, for it. So like, yo, why do I don't want to take this risk. I have a business. I don't want to take this risk. Right. I worked very hard because a business is like a baby. Like I can tell you as a business owner, it's like, it is my baby. I've been working on this for 6-7 years. And then guess what? A woman just gets to take and chill at home and lunch off your hard work.
Right.
Which is not fair. Right. Which is very haram, by the way.
Right. So one word, prenup.
Yeah.
Right. And prenups are Islamic.
Yeah.
And there are scholars out there advocating for that.
Yeah. But even prenups get thrown out of court, some of them.
Really?
Right? Yeah. They're not hold. So a lot of guys, the best way that a lot of guys want to do it nowadays, which a lot of Muslim lawyers have even said, they live common law, get the Islamic nikah done, and then just live common law under Canadian law and get this thing called a cohabitation agreement.
Okay.
So essentially, let's say I move in with a Muslim wife, I get my nikah done Islamically, but on paper we're just common law, just like how the white people live, and they get an agreement done called cohabitation agreement. They don't sign the marriage documents because once you sign that document, a woman has a lot of leverage on you later, even if you have a prenup.
Oh, that's a very tricky situation. Yeah. I don't know if I would advocate for that necessarily because now we're heading into kind of gray area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that fear I hear a lot, right? Guys,
I'm sure you hear it. You hear it
from guys especially. Guys who are earning good money, they're putting off marriage because. If I get married, she's going to suck all my money away and I want to travel and I want to buy this and I want to do that. But understanding that just like entrepreneurship, marriage also requires a leap of faith.
Yeah, I know.
Right. And that's not to say, that could happen, right? Or a girl could take away all your money. But number one is if you're asking the right questions, if you're going through premarital counseling, if you're going and signing a prenup, if you're doing everything within your power, right? I mean, there are options available, right? There's so many things that we can take advantage of to mitigate the chances of having a divorce. But I feel like people aren't utilizing that. They're jumping into marriage because they're being impulsive.
Or women don't want to sign those prenups. Most women are smart. They're like, yo, I'm not going to marry if you're not going to do this prenup. That's happening too, right? But to me, that's a red flag. If a woman, I got to tell guys straight up, if a woman's not willing to do that, you don't even need to marry her, right? Like straight up, there's how many billion Muslims out there? 2 point something, right?
I think, something like
right?
that. Yeah,
50% plus is women. So it's not the last woman, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of guys are lost in this concept of, how do I say it? This illusion of love, right? And for me, I'm so past that as a grown up, because I've seen it. I've seen so much over these. I've been on my own since 17. I've seen so much stuff, and I always said it to anybody. I'm like, there's no such thing as this unconditional love. even your dog, like they say, they say, like people say dogs love you unconditionally. No, they don't. If you don't feed them enough, they'll start eating you. They've done experiments on this. The dog will eat its own owner.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it won't die. It will live to fight another day. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So like this whole thing of like love is just the most dumbest thing. And
yeah,
a lot of love does get tested. For let's say
yeah,
most divorces happen because of financial reasons, not because of other stuff. Most divorce statistics on
yeah,
why divorces happen are because of financial reasons.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not because of infidelity. It's not because of something else. Mostly it's because of financial issues.
Yeah, I think if people are coming into marriage understanding what Islam says about the roles and responsibilities, right, and where men are understanding their responsibility to be a provider, to be a maintainer, things like that, and
Mhm.
women are understanding their responsibility to take care of their husband, take care of the home, and removing the Western understanding
Mhm.
of what marriage is, then and we're coming with an Islamic mindset and Islamic framework, then we're not. I think love will just flow through.
Yeah,
That's not to say. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ went through marital disputes. He even
he
divorced
did.
his wife at one point.
He took
And
separation for 40 days from all of them at one point,
yes,
but no one talks about that.
I mean, no one talks about that,
But you
right?
know what they
So,
talk about?
but the
How he
lesson,
changed the glass for Aisha. They talk about only that. Even the imams. I
uh,
have a problem with the imams. I tell these imams, I'm like, you guys have to tell
yes,
both sides of the story. You
yes,
guys can't just
I
talk about
totally
them.
agree.
I hate
Like
when they just say, "Oh, the Prophet was the best example." Yes, he was. He
he
never
was,
had a problem. He
but
was,
he did have marital
but
disputes.
they don't want to talk. They don't want to talk about them.
Why?
That's my
And there's lessons to learn from that.
correct.
There are so many lessons to learn from that, but we don't focus on that because we want to paint this
Role
illusion of
exactly.
marriage being perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
agree
it's
with
not
you.
perfect. It's not
And
perfect.
even
The
if you go to
search to
nikahs,
finding a spouse can be beautiful and can be a flawless experience, but marriage itself will have
have challenges.
conflicts,
Yeah.
will have problems,
Hmm.
will have ups and downs for sure.
Yeah.
Just like the Prophet ﷺ did.
Today's video is sponsored by Halalmatch.ca. If you are interested in and tired of swiping left, right, and want to do things the halal way, go check them out on www.halalmatch.ca. Now let's get back in the video. Yeah. And he was the best of creation. Forget about
Yeah,
human, the best of creation,
for
right?
sure.
And even when I go to nikahs and stuff, right? Like when I go to nikahs, I've seen it, even the scholars, they the way the nikah is done, as if this guy's being sold off now to a woman. They don't. It feels like that. Like they don't. They're like, oh, now it's your wife. It's happy wife, happy life. No one talks about the happy home. It's like this almost Western way. Like, oh, now you're just your wife's little slave or something. Like, I go to and I get mad. I'm like, yo, you're not telling him the reality. Did you even tell him that did he protect his assets? They should say this. Hey, did you do a prenup? There should be proper thing. No, it's just give me $500. I'll read your nikah, sign, and now you're your wife's slave. That's how it's done nowadays, right? There's
Ah,
no
that's a problem.
there's no like real conversations about the other side,
Mhm.
right? And all I'm saying is both sides have to be discussed, the good and the bad, the
For
yin
sure.
and the yang,
For sure.
right?
For sure. For sure.
But no one does that. They just yeah. It's like it's almost like the Catholic wedding. Like for example, if you go to the Catholic weddings or the Christian weddings,
Mhm.
in death, in sickness, till death do us apart. It's like they signed this pact. In the Catholic Church, you can't divorce. You know that, right?
Right.
So it's almost our weddings have almost like become that now, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like like now you're just done, like your life is over, right? And a lot of guys fall in that trap. Like they give up on who they were and they don't enforce boundaries. And I think boundaries are important. Even before the marriage, there should be strict boundary conversations that should be having in these premarital talks, because healthy boundaries are what keeps a marriage. Because later you could say, well, you never said this, you never wanted this, but I wanted this. And this is what
Mhm.
happens in a lot of these marriages right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Right. I speak to most guys, and what's crazy, I can tell you, like just from personal experience, the marriages I thought that were the more happiest, the ones that posted on Instagram all the time. Like there's a lot of couples that post on Instagram, and they're posting every single day, like, happy wife, we're here, we're that. Those guys message me in secret the most that, hey man, this is just she making me doing all this. I'm not in a happy marriage and this and that, and I'm just flaunting this, which is not true.
so why
There's people
why flaunt it on
because
social media and
because that's another conversation, right? Men have become weak. They've become the Arabic word I forget, but it's almost like they've become slaves to the woman. And the Prophet this was all talked about in that the end of time is going to happen, right? Like I've seen how men are, right? I've seen in public how some of these women run their mouth. Some of my customers, when I go to their houses, Muslim
Mhm.
houses, and the woman's the way she's dealing, and she's like, no, I'm the one who's going to decide everything. And the guy just leaves. the inversion of roles, the prophet that it was talked about. It's a complete inversion of roles.
Yeah.
And that's another problem that's happening in the marriage market, right? A lot of guys just don't have that where they can just put their foot down, like, this is what I want, this is what I expect. If you want it, good. If not, next. No, it's like they're dancing around instead of just saying it how it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. You're definitely seeing something that I'm not seeing. That's for sure.
Well, this is my shop, right? Like,
yeah,
we run a
this is
page
kind of your worldview. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, unfortunately, a lot of what we're seeing as professional matchmakers are just like in regards to divorce.
We talked about
Are
unrealistic expectations. That's number one.
yeah, realistic expectations. So, I remember a case. It was this case. I remember writing a blog about it, and it's this case that just stuck with me for a long time. Iba and I still talk about it to this day. Where a girl jumped on a discovery call with us, and her mom was on the call with us too.
Yeah.
And mashallah, very successful, intelligent girl pursuing a PhD in medicine.
Yeah.
And right from the get-go, it seemed like she was interviewing us. She wanted to know if our service was a good fit for her, if we had the right caliber candidates for her.
Yeah.
And we could tell that she was going to be a bit of a challenging client to take on. But nonetheless, we felt that we had somebody for her.
Yeah.
So we ended the call. We went through a client's profile, and we thought, okay, mashallah, this guy's super smart too. He's also pursuing his PhD at an Ivy League school in the States. And they seem like they could align in terms of their values. So we jump on a call with her again. And we say, all right, we got somebody for you. This guy's, mashallah, very intelligent. He's in his 30s. He's doing his PhD in something. And I'm going to try to keep the details vague, of course. And then she just stops us right there. And she's like, wait, he's pursuing his PhD in his 30s? And we just had this baffled look. We were like, is that wrong? And she's like, well, I'm in my 20s. And it just seems like it's late to be pursuing your PhD in your 30s. And we were just like, but this guy, like, this is why we feel he's compatible with you. And then there was just this disappointment between her and her mom, where they thought we would just have like this person we were just building for them.
Custom
right?
Robot, a robot.
And then she had this line which stuck with me. And she said that I don't find many marriages to be successful when there's a level of inconsistency in regards to income, right? Where like the girl, like she didn't say in those specific words, what she meant was if a girl is earning a lot and the guy isn't earning as much or he earns less than her, then there can be a sort of imbalance in the marriage. And I thought about that for a long time, for a really long time. And the conclusion I came with was that girls who, mashallah, there are girls out there who are becoming CEOs, doctors, engineers, politicians, whatever, right? Like they're really like becoming successful out there in society. But what they're failing to realize is that is relegated to society and not within the home, right? Like you could be the CEO of your company, but you're not the CEO of your home.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like that they don't understand that when they come home, that their husband is the CEO, right?
Mm-hmm.
That their husband is the one that's steering the ship. And
well, Allah gave him that right. Allah gave him that right. That he's one above. Like that's
right.
Allah. Like you can't argue that.
Right. Well, I mean,
where
the Quran
nobody
says it.
Yeah, it says
right?
it clearly that he has one above you. That's just how it's going to be.
Right. And that's not to put women down. I'm not trying to demean women.
However, I'll interject though. I'll interject in one way. I'll just interject in one way.
Yeah.
You also have to understand context when we say this, that CEO and this and that. It's very easy to say that in a world that's already built now by predominantly men, putting on the backs of hard work of men. It's very easy to see that. 1,000 years ago, when your life was in danger, when you walked out of the house and there was some tribe that's going to kill you, you couldn't be a CEO like this. So we have to also understand context. And I think a lot of women should appreciate the hard work of men in this past 1,000 years, Muslim, non-Muslim, doesn't matter, to put them in this place today that they can do all this. And it's great to do all that. But understand that it was on the backs of hardworking men and wars that men fought predominantly. Right. So that these women can do that. And we did it with honor for them.
Right. Well, right? That's not to discount. Yeah. Right. That's not to discount that women have contributed.
Of course,
historically, no. Right? Like women have contributed.
A woman in a home contributes more than a man does outside in a home. That's my belief, right?
Right.
So I'm not even going to go there.
Right. So going back to my point in regards to status, yes, girls have achieved so much in society. Like Hiba has a master's degree, I
Mhm.
don't.
Mhm.
But that was never a conversation for us. That was
Mm.
never an issue, right? Like at the end of the day, she understands her responsibilities. I understand my responsibilities, and
Mm.
it's not, hey, I'm above you or you're below me.
Yeah.
It's about, and the funny thing is, we talk about this line. Chris Rock said this line,
Mhm.
right? That it's a huge quote that we use in our workshop. But what he says is that you're both in the service industry,
Yeah.
right? That you that one person cannot push a couch. It takes two people to push a couch. It's
Mm.
not you or me. It's the both of us that, and you're both in the service industry, and you're both working together to grow something,
Mhm.
right? You're trying to grow a plant, for example,
Mhm.
and so this mentality that people have, or whether you're a guy or a girl, right? Where it's a status game,
Mhm.
where it's about financial capability,
Mhm.
whether it's about, I'm going to do XYZ and you're going to do XYZ, and we're going to compartmentalize our responsibilities. No, the Prophet ﷺ used to stitch his own clothes, he used to milk his own goat.
Mhm.
He used to, the Aisha radiallahu anha has the famous hadith about that. I can't remember the exact line, but that he would be in service to his family.
Mhm.
And so, if we just simply, like, and I'm going to come back to this and I'll say this throughout this episode, if we just simply come back to our deen and just understand and look at the example of our Prophet ﷺ, we'll understand how much beauty and flexibility there is within the framework of marriage,
Mhm.
and how much ease there is in not just finding a spouse, but also in building a healthy marriage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what are your next goals for Halalmatch.ca?
Uh, Next
Are you guys gonna
goals.
build an app or anything or no?
We are not looking to build an app. I don't know. We've just been exploring so many different things. So we have a podcast called Diary of a Matchmaker.
Okay.
You can check it out through our website. You can check it out through our YouTube channel called Get Married with Hiba and Zaid. On that podcast, we share a lot of useful tips.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, our podcast has been growing for
Yeah.
over a year now.
Yeah.
We just hit 1 year. And on that, we just did an episode. What was our last episode? One of our last episodes was circumstances in which the wilaya of the father can be removed.
Okay.
So I knew that was a hot topic.
Yeah.
And yeah, we talk about everything related to pre-marriage.
And do you guys bring any scholars on it, or is it more
We
like
have.
just yeah?
So one of our big episodes was a scholar by the name of Habiba Kande,
Okay.
who is a scholar with a specialty in the field of intimacy.
Okay.
And what does Islam say about the topic of intimacy?
Mhm.
What does Islam say about the topic of sex?
Mhm. And where is he? A local guy from Toronto?
No, he's based in the UK,
Okay.
but he's written so many books.
And he was on Zoom, or what? Did you guys? He came. To you guys?
This was no, not on Zoom. So it's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, but he came to you guys.
No, this
person.
was virtual.
Oh, it was virtual.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
got it.
so definitely check out Diary of a Matchmaker.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, guys, if you guys ever want for the people that are watching, that are looking for a halal match, the description will be put in the link below. And once again, I would like to thank our sponsors to come out here. Assalamu alaikum. Until then, if you like this podcast and if you like the stuff and the guests that we bring, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe our channel. Until then, bye-bye.